Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to worship at King of Glory. That's what you should be saying to me because I'm the guest today. My name is Frank Janzo, and I've been a pastor in the Waukesha area for 40 years plus. And Tim Tatman actually worked for me for 5 years as a youth minister, so I know Tim for many years. And I guess Tim was on a little trip to Alaska. So we should pray for him and Sharon and the crew, and hope they have a great time up there discovering. And so glad that you came out for worship today. We have a wonderful worship that's planned for you. We're going to be talking today about facing fears and want to do that with your faith. Okay? So let's begin the worship with the opening.
Today's reading is from the 15th chapter of Genesis. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward shall be very great. But Abram said, O Lord God, what will you give me? For I continue childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, You have given me no offspring, so a slave born in my house is to be my heir. But the word of the Lord came to him, And now man shall not be your heir. No one but your very own issue shall be your heir. He brought him outside and said, Look toward heaven and count the stars, if you are able to count them. Then he said, So shall your descendants be. And he believed the Lord, and the Lord reckoned it to him as righteousness. And from Luke, Do not be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Here ends today's reading.
So how many have found in your journey of life that there have been a number of times when you've had to face some fears? They did a survey and 99% of the people said that was true of them. The other 1% lied. Because everybody in this world experiences times of danger or threats or things that come up against them, challenges that cause some anxiety and fear. And it's just a human part of our story here, isn't it? I have a very good friend for many years, and he's in recovery from alcoholism. And when I was his pastor for many years, I saw him through that. And about almost 25 years later of sobriety, he came up to me and said, Frank, I have a lot of confidence now in the sobriety I've been given. And so I think that I'm supposed to tell people my story. So I would like to give a witness, a testimony in church about what God has done for me. Well, he said the only problem is I'm terrified to speak in public, joining the millions of other people who also are afraid of that today. Some people, if they went to a funeral, would rather be in the casket than be giving the eulogy. This scares the bejeebies out of them. But I told them, you know what? I think you'll find what you need. So let's do it. Well, that Sunday, he came and he stood up at the lectern, and he had the worst case of cottonmouth I have ever seen. His mouth was so parched and dry, he literally could not get a single word out. And he just stood there. And then suddenly, he walked over to the altar, and he took a communion and threw it back. It's like a shot almost. Then he came up and said, so this is my story. And, sometimes our fears make us do things that are silly, maybe. But he did find what he needed. And actually, he gave one of the most powerful testimonies I've ever heard. So I'm talking to you today about having a fearless faith. Now, what is that? in the gospel reading today, Jesus, knowing that his followers back then and still today would have to face a lot of threats and dangers along the way. He said what you heard Deb read for you, and that was, do not be afraid, little flock. Your Father wants to give you the whole kingdom. Don't be afraid. Well, the old translation of that said, have no fear, little flock. Well, how realistic is that? I mean, in the world that we live, actually, it's not the best translation, the old one. If you go back behind and study the Greek behind that text, you'll find out what it really says is, don't be so afraid, little flock. So what he's telling us is to be fearless in faith means that you have less fear. And that you don't let your fear stop you. Or you don't let your anxieties about the things that you're meant to do in life to hold you back or keep you from moving into your destiny, into the calling that God puts on your life, whatever that might be. People can get afraid about all sorts of things, can't they? I mean, you get afraid about getting older, they get afraid of illnesses, they get afraid of family conflicts, they get afraid of what's going to happen to our church, they get afraid of just a bazillion and one things. Kids going off to school for the first time, should I take this job or not, or all that kind of stuff. But I have found, and I think you might agree with this, that there's one fear that is underlying all those varieties of fears that people have, different ones for different people. And that one thing, this fear of the unknown. All those things have something to do with, I need more detail. I need more of a plan of where this is all going. So, in walks Abraham and Sarah, the story that Deb read for us. And it's something, just a chapter before that, the Lord God said to Abram, I want you to pack up everything and leave the country that you are used to, leave your homeland, all your family and all that, and you and Sarah pack up, and then you go to a place that I will show you. Now, can you imagine Abraham coming home that day, walking in the tent and saying, hey, Sarah, good news, we're moving. What? We're moving. God says he's going to take us to a better place. Okay, well, where are we going? Oh, he didn't say. Well, how are we going to get there? Well, I never thought to ask him. Well, what should I wear? What should I take? What should I pack? I don't know. Well, how are we going to live? How will we get money? How will we have provisions to survive and eat? Well, he never told me that. So all he said was, get up, pack up, and go to a place I will show you. Wow. So Abraham is called the father of faith. Did you ever hear that? And actually, that promise that he would have many descendants has really come true. The great religions of the world, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, they all trace their beginnings to this faith that Abraham said yes. And he packed up, and he and Sarah, based on their faith, not having all the blanks filled in, step out. And they go to that place trusting God will provide and take them and show them where they're meant to be. That's sort of the essence of faith. Stepping into the unknown without all the answers. What that means is not having all the answers does not mean you don't go. So if God puts something on your life that says, I need you to be doing this in your life, or to be in this ministry, or to be taking this step in family relationship, or whatever it is. You don't have to have all the stuff laid out, do you? Or a clear map. You just need to go. And I will tell you quite honestly, in my story, I'm turning 75 this month, so I have a few stories along the way that have happened in my journey. And the very best things that have happened to me, that I have experienced, the greatest blessings that have come my way, have happened every single time when I've been willing to step into the unknown, sensing God's call to go there by faith, not having the details. When I proposed to my wife, Jan, that was scary. When I decided to become a father, have a son, Ben, Ben, or adopted our daughter, Rebecca. Who knew how that was all going to go? Or when I decided to say yes to becoming a pastor, that was pretty intimidating. And then when my wife and I moved from a church, we started a big old church down in Chicago, up to this place we'd never heard of before called Waukesha. What's Waukesha? We went to this little church up here, not knowing, what was happening. And if I had played it safe in all of those areas, I wouldn't be enjoying the blessings and gifts of God. I wouldn't have really in that church had so many wonderful experiences with the people there. I was there 37 years, for goodness sakes. And saw them through lots of changes. We left our mother synod and went to a new synod to be more open and missional. And that's a big deal. And I remember 3 different major building projects to expand ministry in the place. And we stepped out, not really knowing we could get the money to do that or whatnot. So how did that happen? To me, it was because the Lord God said, I'm going to give you everything you need along the way. And that's true for all our journeys. The whole point of God taking Abraham outside at night and showing him the stars of the sky, saying, I need you to look at this. This is how many descendants you're going to have. So go in faith. This is going to be like that. Now, my family was on vacation a few weeks ago to this place up north, and it happened to be on the 16th tee box of this golf course. And there's nothing up there really. At night, the family went out, and we would lay down on the tee box and look up at the sky, because there's no ambient light around, and the brilliance of the universe is amazing to look at. So why did God tell them that? Well, because I think he was saying, you're going to have doubts about this along the way, but every night that you go out, you're going to look up and see the stars, and you're going to remember the promise that I'm with you, and I'm working, even when you can't see it. And I think another thing, I don't know if any of you have been following the pictures that come from this new Webb telescope. It's out 1 million miles from us, and it's 100 times more powerful than the old Hubble telescope showing pictures. And it's phenomenal what it's showing to us. And they're saying they're even capturing light that could be 1 billion years old. Awesome. And I think God took Abraham and us. Take a look at this. I'm the one who made this. I'm the creator of the cosmos. And I'm the one speaking to you. I'm the one who loves you. And I'm the one who will be there every step of the way. So when Jesus says, don't be so afraid, the Father's greatest joy, his greatest pleasure, is to give you the kingdom. That means to give you absolutely everything that you need. Grace, forgiveness to the full, but also sustenance, daily provision, people showing up in your story and in your life, resources, money, anything, everything needed will be provided. It's a beautiful, beautiful promise. And I think we're all called, whatever we're facing, to hear that promise. The same God who created us all came as a baby, grew up just like us, walked with us through the dangers of the world, faced even the cross, rose again, lives and reigns forever, and he says, and I will be with you always, every step of the way, even to the end of the age. If you believe that promise, then whatever lays out in front of you, no matter what it is or how hard it might look, you can have faith. You can have enough faith to step forward, to just take a step into the future, trusting God for everything. If you believe that, time to start packing.